Yo, what's good, my people? It's your boy Big Chris, aka the Compton Animator, and I'm here to give you another WWE Smackdown review. So tonight we're reviewing WWE Smackdown for February 14th, 2014, and tonight is Valentine's night. So WWE basically showing Smackdown on Valentine's Day. One thing I have to say about the show, I'm surprised they didn't do more Valentine's stuff on the show than I thought they would probably normally did. I think they had like one mention about it being Valentine's, and that was between two characters in the show I'll talk about later. It was between Fandango and Summer Rae, but I'm surprised they didn't do more. But they kick off the show with a match between the Shield versus three members of the Elimination Chamber match: Sheamus, Daniel Bryan, and Christian. This match I thought was pretty good. It had a very good pace. It did a lot in the match to get a lot of things hyped for the Elimination Chamber and to build both sides up. Some really high points in the match was Sheamus and Roman Reigns kind of staring off and having a nice little battle with each other in the ring. Once Daniel Bryan got in, you already know he really did his thing and went after everybody. Like I said, Sheamus doing, all of his stuff like that. I thought both of the Shield and all those guys and the Daniel Bryan and Sheamus really kept the match at a good pace. They got their moves and stuff done very nicely. It was one point in the match where you got Daniel Bryan, who was able to do his little kick stings on two members of the Shield, and that was done very nicely. The match ends with Sheamus kicking one of the Shield members, and after he gets that, he gets ready to kick I think Dean Ambrose, and ends up hitting Christian with the bro kick and ends up getting speared. Then the Shield ends up taking the win off of that. Dean Ambrose ends up pinning them and taking off the win. So I like that they set up the guys in the Elimination Chamber to be strong here, but also set up the Shield to be strong in a way. Plus, it kind of set up a little bit of friction between Sheamus and Christian. So, I like that they did that, So it did a very good job of setting up, both sides, conflicts in a nice way. So next match we had was Fandango versus The Miz. I have to say, this match was very mediocre. I thought that some of the stuff in the match, the moves were okay, but as far as just the chemistry of the match and whether or not the crowd was into it, it was pretty just whack to be the most to say. It picked up a little bit once Santino and Emma came out. That's kind of like an interference type thing. It got really good once Emma, and not really good, but it got a little bit of energy to it once Emma and Summer Rae started getting into conflict with each other, and this was the only kind of diva spot that we had on the whole show. So these two girls basically took a lot of the spotlight away from Santino. But the two guys in the match, which was The Miz and Fandango, I couldn't even remember their names. So it took a lot of the spotlight away from both of them guys, and you get a nice little brawl between the two girls. And I thought that was, the best part of the match and the nicest part of the moment. But The Miz ends up coming out with the win from the distraction. After that, you get Brian Saxton, who's backstage talking to the now named Cesaro, and he's talking about, his match against Randy Orton and, how he's going to handle Randy Orton, and he feels that Randy Orton doesn't respect him. And also I could talk about, how I feel about this. So on the WWE app, and I think not the WWE app, but on the website and on a few of the dirt sheets, they're talking about how they've done name alterations for Antonio Cesaro and for Big E Langston. Antonio Cesaro would now just be called Cesaro, and Big E Langston would now just be called Big E. So I feel that it's name changes. It's a lot of guys who go by one name, like Christian and Sheamus. They don't have last names to go with them. It'll be something that we'll get used to, because we call him Cesaro and we call him Big E anyway. It's just that we know that the first name is Antonio, so we'll get used to it. To me, it's no Big E for what it is. It's no Big E. But yeah, it's nothing. It's no big. I don't know how you say it. It's no biggie for what it is. Yeah, no biggie. Like it's not big for it's no big problem for what it is. But so the next thing we get coming up is we get a number one contenders match for Big E Langston's. See, you got to get used to it for Big E or Big E Langston's IC title. So you get Big E Langston who comes out to the announcers table, and it's a match between Jack Swagger and Mark Henry, Kofi Kingston, and Rey Mysterio. Now, this match started off kind of weird and awkward because we're not expecting this type of a match. I think this is something that I think should have been announced instead of the 8-man tag match that we got later on. And I think this is more important because it's a title match, a number one contenders thing for a title match. So this to me is a lot more important than the thing that they hyped up on Raw. But the match itself, I thought, like I said, it started off a little bit slow, but once everything started getting into it and they started doing a lot of their spots and finishers started happening and reversals and all that stuff, the match got really good. The crowd got into it, and I think it was a nice mixture of everybody doing their nice little things. You got the kind of daredevil, high flyer, big man, and submissionist. So you got a nice little array of different styles in the ring, and I thought it went pretty nicely for all the guys. You get Jack Swagger who ends up catching Kofi Kingston's Trouble in Paradise and turning it into the Patriot Lock, and that's how he ends up coming out with the win. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty nice match, and to say that I didn't expect anybody was going to, I didn't really know who was going to win here is a real statement, because I was thinking, oh, well, Mark Henry could possibly win this and they turn him heel, or it just be, he's passing on the torch to Big E Langston. I could see the other two in Kofi Kingston and Rey Mysterio winning it just for their names themselves. And I could see I could have saw Jack Swagger winning it, but they were kind of going on a deep push for him, kind of, doing a storyline of where he's getting beat up all the time. But I think moving this on to where that he finally wins a match and it sets up for something that happens later on in the night, so the Real Americans kind of brag about what they're doing and stuff like that. So him winning this match and now going into the pay-per-view is very nice for him, and I think it was a good move and stuff like that. So yeah, I really liked it, and I thought it was a pretty good match. So next we get the Rhodes brothers and the Usos versus Ryback and the New Age Outlaws. This match right here started off very slow. I thought it was pretty boring at the beginning. You get Cody Rhodes and Goldust who come in at the beginning, and they're kind of getting manhandled for a while. They're doing a little bit of spots, but the chemistry just isn't off right with the New Age Outlaws and stuff like that. You can still tell like there's a little bit of offness with the New Age Outlaws here. I thought once the Usos got into the match, it really hyped up and it will start to get a lot better. Even when Ryback and Curtis Axel were beating up on one of the Uso members, I thought it was kind of slowing down, but the crowd was still into the Usos. There was one point where Ryback kind of did this crazy look to Curtis Axel and they did this crazy look back to each other. I like that, but I really wish they would put more into their characters here, because I think there's one part is that those two guys are dry, so they dried out the match a lot because they were in it for a little bit. But the Usos really got hot towards the end and came out with the win over the New Age Outlaw Road Dogg, and then end up coming out with the win fully for the whole team. And I thought it was a average match. It had a good ending with the Usos, but that's what the Usos do. So next we have, let's see. Okay, so there's a backstage segment where Randy Orton's talking backstage, and he's basically talking about Cesaro, and he talks about how he appreciates Authority for helping him out and trying to make him better with these gauntlet matches that they're set up for him. And the announcer starts talking about the gauntlet matches, and I thought this was an okay promo for what it was. It wasn't the kind of crazed Randy Orton that we've been kind of getting for a while now, and that I was liking more. It was kind of more of the setback and kind of, you could tell it was very written for Randy Orton, which I was like, it's average, at best. But the next match we have here is Darren Young versus Damian Sandow. This is a very forgetful match. I tried to record this video earlier and I couldn't remember shit about this match. Not only that, but I couldn't even remember that Damien Sandow was in it. I couldn't even remember his name. And this goes to show you how big of a push down Sandow has gotten. And it's crazy because usually I don't say that type of stuff because I understand that, some guys got to be up, some guys got to be down. That's just the way TV goes, and that's just the way, wrestling should be because everybody can't be on top all at the same time. So I understand that, but it's such a quick downward fall for Damien Sandow, and it seems like they fully took him down, and he's not even on TV a lot anymore. At least when you can say, okay, Ziggler's not getting a crazy push. If Ziggler's healthy, he's still on TV and he still gets a lot of good spots here and there. And matter of fact, they kind of did the same thing with both him and Sandow this week, where both of them got beat quickly in matches. But for Sandow, he got beat ends up losing a quick match to Darren Young, which was like kind of whack to say because Sandow's really, really over Darren Young when you think about the skill and you think about just what he brings to the table. You had on commentary, you had Titus O'Neil on commentary, which I thought he was pretty good on commentary. He was the only saving grace to this boring quick match. So yeah, the only thing I liked to this match was the end where after Darren Young wins, you get Titus O'Neil, who basically comes in and starts beating down on Darren Young, and then Darren Young starts reversing and beating up him, and then ends up ripping his clothes off, which I thought was pretty funny because the whole gay thing with Darren Young, and I'm surprised the crowd didn't react to that more. So next, but yeah, I like the end segment, but the match itself was very below average, and it was too quick of a match. And also the only other Divas thing that we got tonight was a Raw rebound and stuff like that, and I thought that was pretty whack. But yeah, it's whatever. So the next match that we get is Antonio Cesaro versus Randy Orton, and this is our main event. And this match right here is kind of another one that kind of started off slow, but once it got into it, it got really good. Both of these guys came out there and they did the thing. Cesaro really showed, how good of a wrestler he is in here, and he wasn't really getting the crowd pop that I think that he probably should have gotten, or I thought that he would have gotten. It was really weird because the crowd seemed to be half and half. You could tell that some people there that are kind of marks, I would say, and they're just not marks but casual fans, and they're just oh, Randy Orton, that's the guy we know, so that's the guy we're gonna cheer for. And probably this is also LA, so you probably got a lot of guys and Hispanic dudes who don't like the real Americans because of the things they say and stuff like that. So that's probably the reason why a lot of people weren't so high up on Cesaro. But I think one thing, Antonio Cesaro, once he started getting into his moveset and once he started doing his thing, he really started getting the crowd to turn around for him, and they started really cheering for him. Randy Orton started getting some good heel heat here, and started taking his moments and posing for the crowd, and it kind of got him some cheers, but the crowd booed him some good amount of times too. So I thought that went very well. And a surprising thing was that Cesaro ends up coming out with the win here. He hits a crazy European uppercut, and then he does a spin European uppercut, and he does one where he throws him up into the air and then does the European uppercut. But then he ends up hitting the neutralizer and coming out with the win here. And I was like, oh man, that's a big push for Cesaro to come to get a chance to beat the champion cleanly. And I was like, okay, let's see what they're going to go with him now. So it was very interesting to see him win, and I thought the match was pretty good. It wasn't the best match that Randy Orton's had in this little series of gauntlet matches, but I thought it was better than the John Cena match, and it wasn't crazy over the top and trying to be something that it's not. It was exactly what it needed to be, and I think it did what it needed to do. So the show itself, I have to say I would give it a straight B. I thought the main event was very nice, and I thought it did some good stuff, and the guy who won in a nice fashion, and it made him look real good going into the show. And it kind of sets up whether or not you think Randy Orton's going to lose or not, so I like that. The Usos saved their match, but it turned out to be average for what it was. The Darren Young match was pretty bad. the four-way number one contenders match for the IC title. I thought that was a very nice match. The Miz match was whatever, and the opening match was really good. So like I said, probably a B minus. Or C plus, probably yeah B minus. I thought the main matches, the main three matches or four matches that we got here, I thought they were either to a little bit above average to pretty good matches here, especially the opening match, one of the IC contenders match and the main event match. I thought they were done nicely, and I thought they were pretty chill matches. So yeah, my contacts are at the bottom. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you like these videos, please subscribe, and I'll keep putting these videos up. I'll put them up for my own pleasure or whatever it is, but I like talking about wrestling. So if you want to talk about wrestling, comment down there, and I'll talk about it with you. And I'm on Twitter and stuff like that. I'm on Tumblr, so hit me up in the contacts down there. And thank you for watching. Peace.